Humanity has always had a drive to explore, fueled by a deep and burning curiosity to learn. From seeing what's over the hill, to exploring across the seas, to landing on the moon, people have a strong desire to discover. I know they do, because I feel it too. Looking up at the night sky and seeing the stars is enough to make nearly anyone present themselves with the same question many others have asked themselves before. What's out there? You don't have to look far to see examples of people attempting to answer this question. Sci-fi is one of the most popular genres of storytelling, and even in the late 1800s and early 1900s, space exploration and aliens were something humans imagined and illustrated. Space is fucking cool, and the infinite vastness of space fascinated them, it fascinates me, and hopefully it fascinates you. Enough about history though. What about her story? Video games, a medium in which all manners of creativity and passion are expressed, so let's take a look at some video games that feature space and give them a neat little rating based on how well they did on capturing that space feeling. I guess Nintendo woke up one day, snorted coke, and decided not only were they going to make one of the greatest 3D platformers of all time, but they were going to do it in space. Super Mario Galaxy gets mega space points right off the bat for allowing you to jump around a planet's orbit and even get sucked into other planets' orbits if you're too far off course, because holy hell, that's one of the coolest ways to integrate a feeling of being in space into a game. The idea that space is vast and potentially infinite, combined with the game's constant introduction of new mechanics, is actually a surprising mixture of themes that gave Nintendo a perfect reason to experiment. Bee Mario? Of course there's a Bee Mario. If you looked far enough out in the universe, you could find a galaxy of bees. Probably. The main homies in Galaxy are the Luma, which are literal star people. Gotta hand out a few space points just for that one. And the music in this game, I'm not trying to be blatant here, but the Astral Observatory theme just feels like space. That's it, I can't describe it any other way, it just feels like space. Gotta give Mario Galaxy a perfect 10 out of 10 stars for its space feel. I think it sets a pretty nice baseline for space in a video game. Next up on the starry chopping block, we have the gritty, realistic take on space, Mass Effect. You can fuck aliens in this game. 7 out of 10 stars. The original Dead Space gets massive space points for not only attempting to answer the question of what's out there, but answering the question with, you don't want to know. If there's any better way to prey on humanity's instinctual curiosity, it's to flip it back on us and say, hey, we're not alone in the universe, but we share it with eldritch horrors, and then making every player who dared question their place in the universe shit themselves in fear the first time they ever saw a necromorph. 8 out of 10 stars for making humanity scared of space like they should be. Okay, this one's kinda cheating since it was technically a movie first, but Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is probably the best Star Wars game, so I'm counting it on this list. Who doesn't want to be a Jedi? Show me one person who, growing up, knew about Star Wars and didn't try to move a cup with the Force. Don't lie, we all tried it. Knights of the Old Republic not only lets you be a Jedi, but it lets you get deeper into the nitty-gritty space politics and moral ambiguity of being a laser samurai. Your morals are decided by your actions, but how good can you really stay when a power like Force Persuasion exists, which just completely dominates someone's mind and gets rid of their free will for a brief period so you can fucking enter Chuck E. Cheese without a parent or guardian or whatever. You can travel to multiple diverse planets after leaving Terrace, most of which are just from the movies, but whatever. Hone your Force abilities, attempt to restructure a government whose planet's large reservoirs of natural resources have made them a target for both sides of an escalating conflict, and this ensuing tug of war has caused most of the population to take an isolationist stance in order to remain neutral, even though neutrality may hurt the galaxy as a whole in the long run. Build your own lightsaber. Plus, as long as you're not a stickler for the rules, you get to fuck the aliens. 9 out of 10 stars, because Star Wars literally kickstarted the space craze into the mainstream, and fuck you, Knights of the Old Republic is awesome and I wish more people would talk about it. Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask had an old Gameshark code that lets you press L to levitate, known more commonly by the name Moon Jump. And the moon is in space, so that gives the creators of Gameshark some space points just for that. In Ocarina of Time, it's forgivable that the moon jump doesn't take you to the moon, because it's not a location in the game. However, in Majora's Mask, the game where you can literally visit the moon, the code does not let you actually jump to the moon. 5 out of 10 stars to the Gameshark creators for the effort, but you guys could have done a lot better. Speaking of moons, in Portal, the special walls that allow portals to even exist are made from moon dust, and it's very specifically stated that the only reason portals can work is because of the rocks they obtain from the moon.
And guess what? Ground up moon rocks are pure poison. I am deathly ill. Still, it turns out they're a great portal conductor.
Walls that can have portals placed on them are often colored a bright white, and walls that can't are this dull brown, directly associating the color white with the ability to place portals on a surface. Which is why, when this moment happens at the end of Portal 2, monkey brain see white surface and remember that moon rock is for portal. What a genius way to end a game, and even though your trip to space is temporary, you gotta give Valve huge space points and 8 out of 10 stars for this amazing implementation of space that really pokes at everyone's innate curiosity. Now, if only Valve would actually make games like they used to, or go past the number 2. Speaking of stuff that had trouble going past the number 2, Kingdom Hearts, which, like Dead Space, also attempts to answer the question of, what's out there? Instead of answering with, sweet mutated corpses beyond my comprehension, Kingdom Hearts answers with, Disney worlds. The idea that all of space is actually host to a variety of planets where each individual Disney movie takes place is, interesting to say the least. But then you also have planets that are just normal places like Destiny Islands or a gathering place for Hot Topic Final Fantasy characters and Disney peeps like Traverse Town and Hollow Bastion. And you use a ship made out of gummy blocks to traverse through this space between planets that looks like an acid trip. I don't know whether to give space points or not, because like at its core it feeds the natural curiosity of wondering what's out there in its own neat little way. Fuck it. 10 out of 10 stars to Square Enix for making Goofy one of the smartest characters in Kingdom Hearts. Celeste. Fuck you, Celeste. You put some of the hardest 2D platforming I've ever experienced in a free DLC that technically takes place in space, a headspace more like. You kinda made me question my gender identity, and you did all that for $20? I can't even buy crack for $20. 4 out of 10 stars because you stretched the definition of space for this one. Wait, scratch that. 7 out of 10 because Lena Raine composed your soundtrack. Alright, so what the hell was the point of this video? Space is fucking cool, man, and with NASA recently knocking an asteroid off course with their DART thing, I just got to thinking about how awesome space is, and also kind of regretting that I'll never get to be an astronaut. So yeah, shout out to Planets, go follow r/space on Reddit, go follow me on Twitter. I never post there, but the numbers make me feel validated. And shout out going outside and looking at the night sky with your homies, full homo.